So anyway, like I was saying, took the 12 horse off of it, put the 12.5 I had, I went ahead and threw it on here. It runs better, but the problem is the carburetor is not, the fuel needle's not shutting off or something, so the carburetor is like letting it flood out to where you can actually get up to 1/4 of an inch down in here. And when I take the spark plug out, I can literally crank it over and blow it out of it, so. But I took the, that new Stens muffler off of it and put it on here. Trying to get this part of it running. This it runs better, it seems like a better engine, and it's 4 years newer. So I think I'm gonna have a better chance with it. The biggest problem is that carburetor overflowing, and the fact that the some gasket's leaking. That's why it's so wet up front. So I'm gonna end up taking this off of here again, replace the sump gasket, and all that good stuff, and see if it's gonna be better off that way. I'm still having an issue with the pulley down here is still hitting that makeshift. Let's focus or not. Yeah, the pulley down here is still hitting that makeshift belt guide, so I'm going to still address that. But when I had this out and running, I kicked on the PTO, and the blades seemed like they were running pretty good, and they weren't spinning down and back up like the old belt that I had on it, which wasn't the best one. That's an actual official Murray belt on that one, so it should be working a lot better. Overnight I recharged the battery because it was kind of cranking kind of slow and kind of weak. But yeah, I mean, I put some oil in this already for testing purposes, and well, it's leaking out anyway, but I'm gonna drain it all out, and I'm gonna take it off, put it back over there on the table again, mess with it. And stuff like that there. One day I'll get done with this thing. I mean, like I said, the transaxle was the biggest problem it had at the beginning. The shifter connects down under here, and it was, well, the shifter is a rod, and it's got this fan on it that actually selects the gears when you turn that. And it was actually separated from itself, so they were spinning free from each other, so that's why you couldn't switch gears. I got in there and I welded that back up and all that stuff. And it's shifting fine, it's just the engine's the problem. Engine issues are the problem right now, and that down there. So eventually, this is going to be a good machine. I hope so. Anyway. Because if not, I'll be terribly disappointed. Now let's start popping some crap off of here. Figure out what sockets I used again. Nope. What the heck? It has to be one of these. That one's for these. There it is. Switch it out. This carburetor has two different studs going through it. So I had to put a spacer on this one because the threaded stop right here, and there's a whole bunch of shoulder here to put it on. So I just threw that on there to hold it in place. Works pretty good though. Pop that off. I did put a new O-ring on this a while back. I did get a new breather hose because the one that was on it didn't work right with the carburetor I needed to put on it. So that's a little different. Let's see here. Anyway, fuel line. Need to clamp that off. Right about, that's good enough there. Probably the first time I've actually filmed me trying to work on something instead of just doing it, talking about it later. It's winter. Excuse my throat clearing. That's kind of annoying. So that's on there. Have a slight amount of fuel coming out because of this section here and probably that if it's still overflowed. Yep, there we go. I got a ply plate down there to catch this stuff. So that's on. Now I got both studs have the same size, 5/16 on them. So I'll make it easier that way. I'm just going to take this off here now because I got to take the whole thing off anyway. Wrong direction there. Just got to run these out by hand. That. That's what I was talking about though. Get lined up. So this one right here is normal. This one right here's got an extra shoulder on it. That's why I use that spacer. And they fall down to the deck. Dirty deck. Testing it out too much. What fell down just now? Oh. The gasket. So, get that off there. You can actually pull choke lever out all the way, unhook it. Then you got this throttle plate set up. Unhooks there, take the spring off. There's that. To get into the shot, it would be great. Anyway, choke, throttle. If you can hear that, it does have fuel on it. All right, we get this squared away. I'll be right back. Now for the throttle cable. What I do with my driver. Oh, yeah. Duh. Right there. I got a proper OEM clamp, but not a proper OEM screw, but it worked. It's a bit longer. Anyway, a little farther. That tab always makes it stick out a little bit farther. I have to run out a little farther. That's why one good reason having a longer screw. Sheesh. There we go, finally. Just gotta run that back down to keep it in place. unhook. That's off. Now for the other side. While I'm here, I'll go ahead and yank out the sparkly plug. Why not? Turn this over so I can see better. Yep. Thought it was strange this took such a short plug. Still a little wet. Smells like gas because it's been overloaded. Let's see if it ever focuses. Will it focus? Yeah. It's hard to tell on camera, but it is wet. It smells a little bit like gas. Again, hard to believe. Set that little beastie over here. And I'll move around to the other side. I'll bust this open and get the oil out. I just loosened it a little bit. I haven't had this open before. You tighten it up a little bit. I love having wires right there to get in the way. Let's get up there. That's just a headlight wire. Ah, there it goes. There it goes. Just wedge it up in there. Hold itself. Pull out the dipstick. Let it free flow in there. Let that drip all over the place and get things dirty, etc., etc. That's kind of a chocolate brown kind of a oil there. Anyway, let that drain for a while. Got it going into that. Oops. Got it going into a big drain pan down there. That's all it is. I'll be back. So some of this gas is actually ramping out from the bottom of the funnel there onto the floor, and I kind of smelled it, and it smelled a little bit like gas. So I'm thinking, yeah, the flooding issue did get past probably the rings and stuff. So hopefully once I get this cleaned up and cleaned out and try to get that carburetor working right, this will be better off. It's a mess. But it's a lot less of a mess than that 12 horse, that's for sure. Put some absorber down. You can see the new spots. You can wait for a second, you can probably see it hit it again. There, see? Somehow, I guess it's thinner if it's got gasoline in it. So it's actually flying out of there and says it's dripping like the oil. That's different. I haven't really seen it that much, so everybody else probably has, who knows. But it's still dripping. It might be a little while, so maybe I'll go ahead and I'll see if I can do something with that carburetor. Okay, let's dig into the carburetor. So I got some gas in it. Got a bowl nut, 10mm wrench. You know something? I need to move that camera a little bit. It's kind of the first time I've actually tried to film myself working on something, so it's probably a little rough around the edges, if not really rough around the edges. But I thought I'd give it a shot. I know this isn't gunned, but it's something else. I'll try to get out one of these days. Still a brand new bowl. Don't have to worry about that being too dirty. This is a brand new carburetor, just not working right. That's why I said it wasn't working right. So, some of the gasoline out of the way. What I saw was a guy said that they don't test these at the factory. So you end up with a needle that does not fully seat, and so it still has fluid out. You know, gasoline. So I figured I'd at least try that while I was messing around. I've got to take that engine off anyway. Let me reposition this a little better. Let's try that. Light pin comes out. There's the needle. Now my hands are kind of in the way. There's the needle. Won't focus at that zoom factor. Anyway. Anyway, there's the needle. It's got a rubber tip, so he said you need a pop. Well, kind of focus again. Oop. Let's pull right here. He said to take it, pop it back down in the seat. Maybe someday. Little part. There, okay. He said to take something and tap it till you make a ring on it. Now normally, you know, if you're doing a quad or something, it's like, oh, if it ring's too pronounced, you gotta take it off. Well, I guess you gotta have some of it there so it seals off properly. If I can find what I wanted to find here. I think I'll get a needle nose. He took a needle nose and he would tap on it. Let's see if I do anything. Yeah? I do see somewhat of a little ring on there. Probably can't see it, but give me a sec. There we go. Kind of see a ring on it. I might try a little bit more. Chinese carburetors were probably not tested very much. That what the heck, you know? I don't remember how much I paid for this. Like 12, 15 bucks at the most. Yeah. I can actually see a ring on there. You have to focus a little bit. Yeah, now you can kind of see a ring on there. But I won't be able to test it out anytime real soon because I got to get the engine off anyway. I'll shove this back together and hope for the best when that time comes. Put that in there. Take a pick, just kind of make sure it's pushed back far enough. Alright, throw that back on. Gasket. I gotta see balls that clean very often. First time I tried to start that thing up on it, it was actually coming out of the muffler. I was like, what the heck? It was blowing out of the muffler and it was vaporizing as it came out. So, yeah. So hopefully this is going to be a better fix. I know it made me feel better once I get the sump gasket replaced so it stops leaking. Alright, where's the plug at? There's the plug at. Smells different, so I'll wipe this off. Oh, this didn't have any Teflon tape on it, so maybe I won't have to put any on it. One more drip. Okay. Let's lay it down there for now. Yeah. Oh, another thing, if you have excessive oil leaking out of here underneath the dipstick tube, this grommet down here is actually threaded, so you can actually twist this down into make it tighter fit into it. So that did help with this stuff though. Pretty good actually. I'm gonna look back into that one. Sometimes if they're too old and they get too hard, they're not gonna seal good anyway, so that'll be something else I need to look at. Let's see here. Kill wire. I just had the kill wire cut off and it was just this going into here. So I ended up splicing it on here to make it compatible. Pop that off. That's the headlight that's already unhooked. Here's the charger. The AC wire that runs normally to the headlights on a tractor, riding mower, and the diode that takes AC, turns it into a single-sided DC, and that runs back and charges your battery because your battery is only DC. If I ran an AC into it, like if you in this situation, if I plugged it up on the opposite side, it would probably blow the battery up. Maybe not literally, but it will not probably charge anymore. So you want to make sure you put this, if you got this kind of situation, make sure you plug that in on the diode side, or on the red wire, or else. Now that's 7/16, I think, and I don't have one on me, so maybe I'll just use this. I'm just going to tighten this down first. Come on, wire, get out of the way. Snug about there, we good enough for now. Like that. This is overkill, but then we'll have to get up and get something else. That's pretty loose anyway. Of course, this is the starter wire. It's positive. It's on the other side of the starter solenoid, which it gets bridged when you turn the key, you hit a button and whatever. So next I'll have to undo the PTO. There it goes. And everything falls out. Where is it? There it is. Whoop. PTO is loose. Now I gotta find. There it is. Huh. I'm just gonna go ahead and unbolt the engine, get it off of there, and spare you the trouble. Alright, so I got it off there. That is really bad. Just oil just dripping all over the place. But I'm gonna go ahead and start taking some stuff off of here. And I'll get to that when I get the blower shroud off. I think I need to get a parts tray. I'll get the big one. Hold more crap that way. Alright, that little beastie came off. I'll take this off. Alright, now I guess I'll go ahead and take the blower shroud off again. Right on the floor. Blower shroud's important because it helps channel the air being moved by the fan on the flywheel, obviously, and it helps cool the engine down. That's why they say you gotta check the fins all around the head and stuff once in a while to make sure that they're clean, because if they're not, you're going to end up overheating the engine, and engine go boom. That would not be cool. Especially if you don't like using stuff, you know. Yeah, these on the front have shoulders on them. I'm not exactly sure why. I guess it serves some purpose, so. Sure I get all the crap off here. There we go. With the compression, because it was running. More concerned about, yeah, see, it'll bounce back. That's my thumb over the spark plug hole. It's bouncing back, so I'm thinking that's pretty good. I'm not going to worry about the rings or anything on this one. Let's see here. Well, yeah, I'm going to take this off too. Got a Z-bend, and sometimes they're not very cooperative because they're dirty or something, I don't know. There's that, and get the spring off. I think I had to get this one out of my stash because what was on it was cut off about right there. I'll leave that on there. I'll take that off, I'll look at the valves later. These tabs just bend over, and their idea is to keep the muffler bolts from undoing themselves. It's too hot there for Loctite, pretty sure. That'll be good. These are half. Let's use that one. I got it. Might as well speed the process up a little bit, huh? Now the only thing holding this on is the screw back here in the bracket. That is, I know you can't see it, but it's there. Seems like it was an oddball size. Like, actually, I think it was 3/8. Close enough. There's that. Get that muffin bowl all the way out. Wrong size, dude. There it goes. That's odd. Yep. Look at that. It's a T27. Hopefully this gasket's still good back here. I won't have to replace it. It looks like it might be. Hopefully it peels off of the side of the engine. Nice and easy. Dip. Huh, yeah, that's not a bad one. Hooked in on the side plate, and there's that. I've already had this off before because I was cleaning it. I guess I'll take the head off. Onesie, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a long one. You always want to make sure you pay attention to see if any of these could be longer, because sometimes they have longer head bolts near the exhaust side, and sometimes, like some of these, I don't think they had any difference on them. It may vary between brands or something. So you can mix them up probably if you want to. Ain't no thing. I didn't need to do this really, but I want to check them. Check the valves, make sure they're, last right and everything. And of course the valve heads are under here, so you gotta get the head off. The torque specs on the sump gasket, or well, not the sump gasket, the sump bolts and the head bolts are both apparently 18.5 foot-pounds. Doesn't sound like much, but translate that to however many inch-pounds normally. Yeah, all these bolts are the same size. That's all of them. See me pop this beast off of here. Just like so. Yep, gonna need a new gasket. Should have one. Hey, like that, I stopped at that top dead center. No perceivable wobble in the piston head, so that's good to me. These should be okay too. That's a problem with these head gaskets. They'll get one side of it will get stuck on one side or the other, and they'll delaminate like that. So you got to pop them off anyway. Fortunately, I believe I had one because I anticipated having to do this and this at some point. So I just got another one because they're the same size and shape as the 12 horse. Whee! Should have to clean. This is the other one where the gaskets could be a little bit schmucked. Oh, there's a lot of oil in there, eh? That's the valve cover. The air pulse from the engine will blow into here, and it'll pop through here, and it'll go into the air box. Kind of helps circulate more air into it. That's like a valve, like a check valve that keeps it from getting oil into the tube here and making everything more nasty than it needs to be. So I went top dead center. Okay. See what. Let's try off 5,000s. See what we got. If we got anything about 5,000s. Okay, getting 5,000s on the exhaust. Oh my God. Does everybody see that? Yeah. Don't you love that LED strobe? Anyway. Let's try 4,000s. Okay, so we're running about 4 there and 5 on the intake, or 4 on the intake and 5 on the exhaust. Alright, I checked the valve lash on the intake and the exhaust, and intake's supposed to be 3 to 5, and the exhaust is supposed to be 5 to 7. I got 4 and 5, so this is on the low end, but it's still within spec. I'm not going to worry about the valve lash at all this time. Maybe a few years down the road somebody might have to. But not now. Alright, I just had a reorientation. I don't think I saw anything coming out of the oil seal down here on the PTO side of the shaft. So that's pretty good, hopefully. I'm going to make sure it stays that way. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's going on here? I think there's usually 10 of them down here. Could be missing a couple, actually. That might be why it's leaking. Isn't that interesting? I did not know that. Right there. See, there's an indentation. We got a bolt here. But right here, there's one here and one here. And it's like they're both missing. That could actually be why it's leaking there. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, so that's absolutely interesting. Missing 2 bolts here. I'm not sure if the threading's still in there or not. They got stripped out, they fell out, whatever happened. Because like I said, it was mounted on this plate. So you couldn't even see if you wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wipe my hands off first, and then I'm going to take one of these out and compare it to what I do have on hand here and see if it's going to be usable. Okay, just want to make sure they weren't broken off. Okay. Good. Good. Oh, we got a winner. How fun. Thought that one was loose. There it goes. Yeesh. Let me check up here to see if these still have a thread on them. Yeah, I think so. Well, the other ones are just too short. That's why it was a little more weird. Yep. That should be enough. So we got 2, 4, 6, 7 out of... Oh, there's one down here. Let's try this. Okay. Ooh. That was covering oil. Better wipe that off. Get myself a rubber mallet. Try to pop it off of there. Pop. Oh, she's running. You ever had to rebuild one of these? Let me get that shot. Whoop. You ever had to rebuild one of these? Your crank gear has a little dot, kind of a notch, kind of a hole right there, divot, and then your camshaft gear has one too, and those two have to interlock like that. So I guess that's all I want to do for right now. I'll see about ordering a couple of some bolts and get all that taken care of, and I'll save you guys the problem of staring at that for X amount of minutes. So that is what it is. Hopefully these are findable and not $1 billion a piece, and I have to pay, you know, $50 to get them shipped from Japan or something. Anyway, I think I'm gonna stop this here for now, and I'll do a follow-up later on, I guess. Till next time.